Welcome into SLIAC TV. We're on the campus of Greenville University here in Greenville, Illinois, inside H.J. Long Gymnasium for our first of two semifinals here in the men's basketball tournament. First, it'll be the Webster Gorlocks and the Spalding University Golden Eagles. Gorlocks, the 3 seed, the Golden Eagles, the number 2 seed. Tyler Rosen, Doug Faulkner alongside you as we are ready to tip this one away. It is controlled by the Gorlocks. Gorlocks coming off a emotional rivalry win in the quarterfinals against Fonfon. The last time those two programs will face each other. Now worked down low, shot no good coming from Hugo, and tipped out of bounds. It'll go to Spalding.
Good hustle down there by Sykes on the baseline. Diving out of bounds, trying to save it, just wasn't able to do so.
First of two, as we mentioned, the host Greenville Panthers will take on Eureka in our second game. Doug will have the play-by-play there for you here on SLIAC TV. Should be a fun weekend. Get started here tonight. Spalding. Shot fake, drive, now kick out here into the corner. Cycled around the perimeter. Burton's fouled.
Yeah, I thought Luster there did a pretty good job, actually, defensively, trying to get, in front there of Burton. But they called him for the bump, just said he was moving a little bit.
Under 20 to shoot now for Spalding as Johnson will swing it on over. Anthony Dillard now sets a screen. Set it for Bradford, who works off of it, trying to get it back to Dillard. Too far out in front for him to handle. Hugo comes up with it. Back at the other end go the Gorlocks. They stand at the perimeter. And now Diallo to Hugo, down low. Not much motion coming across. Forced to give it back to Diallo, who was looking for some help. He and Hugo just playing a bit of catch on that far side of the floor. Under 10 to shoot. Drives, kicks. Now driving again is Hibbert. He has it poked away. 3 to shoot. Just putting up a prayer from 3. No good from Luster. And back down the floor. Good series there for Spalding, and a walk. Tried to step on through to Devontae McCampbell, the junior out of Owensboro, Kentucky, and turns it back over to the Gorlocks.
Yeah, this game has that sluggish look. Both teams are very good defensively. They kind of play a methodical style. They're going to make several passes before they get a shot, but neither team is going to give way defensively.
No, we were talking about that before we came to air, just how stout they are, and it could be one of those defensive struggles. You're seeing it already. Almost 2 minutes into the game, not yet a point scored for either team.
Yeah, both teams in great help side. They're in great position. They handle the dribble drive well. Both teams really strong.
It's the Gorlocks here with the possession. They work in the navy blue yellow trim. 3 from the far wing, no good. And for a moment, it was Bradford who had the rebound, but the Gorlocks come away with it. 3 from the point is good.
Yeah, another great play by Sykes over there to save it. That's his second save of the game. I guess the first one went out of bounds, but that one ended up being a triple for Webster because of his hustle play.
That was Luster who knocked in the 3, the graduate. That shot was affected. Dillard put it up and goes out of bounds. It'll stay with the Golden Eagles. 17:35 to play in the first half.
Yeah, Dillard, a first-team all-conference player. You're going to hear if that's not going to be the first or last time you hear from him.
No, not at all. And it's going to be key for the Gorlocks to try and hold him into check. A good one quick passing turns into a dunk there for Anthony Dillard. So we told you weren't going to be able to keep him down forever.
Yeah, Webster went into a 2-3 zone there, and Spalding able to go high-low.
Sykes working on Bradford, gives it up. Luster here at the wing. He'll just dribble back towards the point before swinging it around. Approaching 17 minutes to play in the first half. Luster thought about it, dribbles in, now kicks to Sykes the second. His 3 no good off the front of the rim. Ball still loose, being battled for. Bodies hitting the deck. And finally, ball rolls out of bounds, and let's make sure everyone's okay.
And look who saved it again, Tyler. That's Sykes again. He's just everywhere. He's a good hustle player and obviously a really good player in this conference.
Carl Moore Jr., the senior out of Jennings, Missouri, will check in for the first time tonight for Hugo. And following suit, Sebastian Reed will come into the game replacing Josh Luster.
Sykes, the leading scorer for Webster. He averages 13 points a game, but as you can tell early, that's not the only thing he does.
Yeah. The Gorlocks with 10 to shoot. Moore just hands it off. Gets it right back on the give and go. Goes up through traffic. Shot was no good off the backboard. And then the rim. Offensive rebound. Flipped over to Diallo, who gets 2.
Yeah, Sykes getting his hand, not only getting the rebound there on a hustle play, but a fantastic pass there to his teammate.
5-2, the Gorlocks lead. Spalding around the perimeter. Johnson dribbles through, may have shuffled the feet a bit, but he kicks out to the perimeter. 3 on its way, no good off the side of the rim. Dillard with a tough board through a couple of Gorlocks to keep the possession alive, but then a walk as Jacoby Johnson got a little antsy, the senior out of Louisville.
Yeah, Webster came back with the 2-3 zone after Spalding had gone high-low and converted against them. A great rebound there by Dillard in that situation, but then Spalding turned it over. 5-2 here, 4 minutes in. This is going to be one of those grinded-out games, I have a feeling.
Yeah. For full disclosure, Doug and I cover a lot of Greenville basketball, and you SLIAC fans know that low scoring is not really in the vocabulary for that team, so quite a change here for us. Under 10 to shoot for the Gorlocks. Dribble behind the back. Diallo gives it up to Moore. Now Reed dribbles around one, pulls up mid-range, no good off the rim. And coming in for the rebound there, Xavier Burton. As Spalding will go back down the floor. Burton fakes, dribbles
good pass.
Leaves it off, and unable to finish the jam, but was fouled on his way up. Devontae McCampbell. So he'll go to the line for a couple.
Yeah, I think that was Burton on the pass, wasn't it?
Yes,
and then,
it was.
Yeah. And McCampbell tried to flush it home, but was fouled there by Luster.
About put it down. And it rimmed out.
You wonder if the dunk goes down if they call a foul. That's
Yeah.
what I always wonder as a coach in that situation.
In that specific instance, it did feel like a little bit of a late whistle or a wait-and-see sort of whistle. Either way, the first is good as McCampbell knocks it in. McCrary into the game for Webster.
Webster 2 of 8 here early, shooting 25%. Spalding has only taken 2 shots, believe it or not, according to the stats. We may have to check that.
So both are good, 5-4. So they get it up on the scoreboard now. Got to get it across, just do, into Reed. So now the Gorlocks will look to set up. McCrary to Reed. McCrary back at the point. Into the far corner, under 10 to shoot. Got to give it up. Back to McCrary. Drives, kicks. Great defense here from Spalding. Got to get a shot up. They do from the wing.
Yeah.
It's good from 3. Big shot there from Josh Luster.
Yeah, Luster with a great shot. And Spalding really, Webster kind of pushing themselves around here. They've had 9 shots compared to Spalding's 2, so Spalding's going to have to find a way to get some shots off. And this 2-3 zone is really making it difficult.
3 no good off the hand of Jacoby Johnson. And now the Gorlocks will look to extend a 4-point lead. 14-20 left to play here in the first half. Reed through a little bit of traffic. Gives it up to McCrary. Now swung around the perimeter.
Spalding sticking with man-to-man, and they're converting down there against Moore.
Great find from Moore to get McCrary streaking along the baseline, a 10-4 lead.
Now you can tell Spalding's not real comfortable yet playing against the 2-3 zone, but what they did there, that's what they're going to have to do is get it in the middle and then make something happen. If you pass it around the perimeter against this 2-3 zone, you're just gonna play catch with it out there. Coach Bunch has been known in the conference, Tyler, to come out in a 2-3 zone, and he has gone for multiple game streaks with that 2-3 zone. So Spalding's going to have to try to find an answer.
They are, and it's been a really good first, we'll call it sequence here as we get to the media timeout, 13:45 to play. Webster's come out ready to go, and as you mentioned, Doug, Spalding maybe just a little bit sluggish out of the start, and they worked themselves into good areas. You think about the two-hand jam attempt that just rims out, turns into just 2 at the free throw line as opposed to potentially a 3-point play, and they put up some good shots, haven't fallen just yet. But as you mentioned, the frequency of shots has been kind of the issue for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, Spalding shooting 31%. 31.7%, and I think Webster's just going to challenge it a little bit and see and make them play from the perimeter. We'll see how much it takes. You know, you're kind of wanting to take Dillard and Bradford out of the game a little bit. They're 2 leading scorers on Spalding. So far, it's worked, but we'll see.
Both teams making their way back out onto the floor after the media timeout. 13:45 to play, 10-4. Our score in favor of the 3-seeded Webster Gorlocks, as we mentioned, coming off of a quarterfinal victory over Fontbonne. Last 2 times those teams and great rivals will link up. It was a 73-68 victory for the Gorlocks. They were up 10 late. The Griffins put on a fever pitch of a rush to bring it within 2 as we get a turnover back to Spalding. And then the Gorlocks were able to pull away late. It made for a fun game and presumably a fun atmosphere the last 2 times that those rivals get together.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I was actually a little surprised at how well Spalding played against Webster. I didn't see either game, but you got to wonder how much they played the 2-3 zone.
They're going to steal back down the other floor, the other end of the floor by McCrary, and then foul the other end as he missed his shot. And
that's over the back on Diallo, right?
Yep. That'll bring Sykes back into the game. Diallo will take a seat. 2 fouls up to this point for each team.
Yeah, I think Webster missed Sykes while he was out. I mean, he was just making a lot of things happen, even though he wasn't necessarily scoring. But you can see this 2-3. It's kind of played high and wide. Those wings will come way out there on the wing. Yeah.
Score and 1. Good drive there.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, Tyler, that's what Spalding's going to have to do, right? They're going to have to look inside against that zone, and they're going to have to look for Mr. Dillard. I mean, that's just the way they're going to have to play it, and right there is an example of why he is going to be such a threat. But I just don't think they're going to be able to pass it around the perimeter. It's got to get inside, and it's got to get into Dillard as much as possible.
Can't deny that. One of the conference's best players. He's helped lead this team to a number 2 seed. He knocks in the extra. And Xavier Burton will be replaced by Cameron Jones.
Spalding coming out in what I would call almost like a 2-guard full court press. All they're trying to do is slow Webster down a little bit.
A lot of passing, quick passing here from the Gorlocks. Hop step in, Hugo turns, puts up a hook shot with the left, no good. And now Spalding back down the floor, steps through, kicked into the corner, 3 on its way is good.
Nothing like corner 3 that'll bring you out of the 2-3.
Cameron Jones knocks in a big one to tie us up at 10. Gorlocks on their heels a bit.
Both teams just playing aggressive defense. If you're watching it, you appreciate a good defensive matchup. That's what you got here tonight in this first round.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Working off the screens are the Gorlocks. 5 seconds to shoot. Got to get a shot off. Sykes has it, puts it up with 1 to shoot. No good off the back heel. Tipped back out by Hugo. Stays with the Gorlocks. That was McCrary. three on its way from Luster. No good off the side of the rim. Sykes an offensive board. Kicked into the corner, and Luster stepped out.
Yeah, you know what you're not going to be able to do if you're Spalding is give Webster 2 or 3 opportunities after you've played such good defense. I mean, it's been suffocating by Spalding, but they're not going to be able to give up the offensive boards to Webster.
Well, that was 2-3 offensive rebounds there for the Gorlocks, and works out for Spalding as it results in no points. But you're absolutely right. Can't live in that territory all night, driving on his way in and fouled.
Webster going back to man-to-man defense there, Tyler, so that corner three knocked him out. Chris Bunch switching it up and going back to man-to-man, and I think when he goes back to man-to-man, now he's got to think, how are we going to stop Bradford? Because Bradford's going to try to penetrate and get to the hole. And he does there and picks up a foul. Bradford, the second leading scorer for Spalding, the lefty.
Shoots 71% on the year.
He's from right there in Louisville, Kentucky, Fern Creek.
Makes the first. Spalding on top, 12-10 after the 2 free throws. And the Gorlocks in a little bit of a drought here. An 8-0 run from the Golden Eagles. Just over 11 minutes to play here in the first half.
Yeah, Reed was in there for a while. They didn't give it to him. He's building a house in there.
Hugo drives in the paint, squares up, faces the basket, gets a tough shot to fall.
I think Hugo using the glass is a good idea.
Yeah. He just bullied his way into the paint, was able to square up and knock in a tough one. Tied it back up at 12. Just under 11 minutes to play. Stepping back, taking a three. Bradford no good off the back heel. Almost tipped in by the Gorlocks. And a tough offensive board. And 2 more points for Anthony Dillard.
Dillard's listed at 6'5". He looks more like 6'3", 6'4". But, man, is he tough in and around the basket. Uses his body well. Is strong.
He's relentless on the glass. We've seen it a couple times tonight. Reed with a tough score.
Yeah, nice cut there by Reed.
Went through a couple of bodies, was falling towards the baseline, got it to go. It's been a back and forth game once the scoring's opened up a little bit here. As Dillard's forced back out to the perimeter. Gives it up to McCampbell. Tosses it to Bradford, gives it right back. McCampbell drives, tucks it with the left hand, shot no good. Loose ball tipped into the corner here, and just stepping out of bounds on the recovery is Cameron Jones. Got a media timeout. We'll step aside here as you're watching the SLIAC men's semifinal here on SLIAC TV. Welcome back to H.J. Long Gymnasium here on the campus of Greenville University for the SLIAC men's basketball semifinal games. First one here between the Webster Gorlocks and the Spalding Golden Eagles. And it's been a fun first 10 minutes plus here in this first half. 14-14 our score.
Yeah, the stats are pretty close. I mean, Webster shooting 37%, Spalding shooting 44%, but Webster getting off 16 shots, and some of that is the 5 offensive rebounds in the first first part of this first half for Webster has really kind of given them the ability to not shoot quite as well, but stay right in this game.
Gorlocks will have the possession out of the timeout, media timeout. 5 fouls committed by the Gorlocks, just 1 up to this point by Spalding. Ugo, good find to Sykes on his way in. He's fouled on his way up. He'll go to the line for a couple.
Sykes did a nice job drawing that foul. He kind of leaned into the defender, double clutched it, and was able to draw it there, and he's good at that.
Go to the line for 2, 9:36 to play here in the first half.
They list Sykes at 6'2", and a little bit like Dillard. He doesn't look, totally like 6'2", but he just is so active. I mean, he's on the boards. He's diving out of bounds. He's just doing so many things.
He goes 2 for 2 at the line on that trip to give the Gorlocks a 16-14 lead. Again, Spalding will look to answer on their trip down the floor. Dillard hands it off to Johnson. He gives
nice
it right
pass
back to him and ran out of space, and a late whistle and a foul there as Dillard took a shove in the back.
Yeah, that was a really good-looking pass there by Johnson.
Yeah.
And he hit Dillard on the roll. Little pocket pass there, bounce pass in between the defenders. Not an easy pass to make. You can tell they've run that a lot.
Surprised that pass got through the traffic.
I am too.
Tight window, went with the bounce pass. Now Dillard at the line. First rims out. Carl Moore Jr. will check into the game.
List Dillard at 190, and now that part I'd say he's a strong looking gentleman for sure. So, I mean, if I were Robbie Shoemaker, Spalding doesn't have football, I might give him a call. After he graduates, he may have a year's eligibility left. Spalding doesn't have football, like I said.
It's a 1-point lead after Dillard goes 1 for 2, and that one's stolen away. Dillard flips it back to Burton. Brings it up the floor, finds Jones. Swing around in the corner to Levi Langley. Steps into a 3, does Langley, and hits.
Webster came down, and they were in a 2-3. And that's the second three-pointer that Spalding has hit against that 2-3.
Webster trailing by 2, under 9 to play here in this first half.
Now Spalding in a 2-3.
Yeah.
A little cat and mouse here.
Holding the Gorlocks at the perimeter. 3 on its way from Luster. No good off the rim. Guess who's there? Sykes for the offensive board. His putback
right now
good.
They're just Webster on the offensive boards. It's one of the early stories in this game.
Carl Moore Jr. gets 2 there after Sykes' putback was no good. But again, it's the second chance points that works out for the Gorlocks, approaching 8 minutes here in this first half. Good screen by Langley, but the pass from Johnson is stolen away. It was intended for Burton.
Yeah, Sykes with an interception there. He's got good hands.
We're trying to work it down low to Carl Moore Jr. They do. He saves it from going out of bounds. Reed, his mid-range jumper is good. 20-18. Fun first half.
Yeah, Webster's just getting up more shots. They've taken 19 shots to Spalding's 10.
Dillard now to Johnson. Fakes, drives baseline, and had his shot pinned up against the backboard by Sykes.
Yeah, he's just everywhere.
Reed slows it up and kicks. Luster. Sykes thought about working it down to Carl Moore. He's got the position. Gives it up. Now Reed, another move.
If Reed gets going, they're a different team. He's got a nice little jump shot, and he can get it off very easily. He's actually asking Coach Bunch for a break. And Webster drops back into a 2-3 here.
Spalding, Jacoby Johnson.
Yeah, that's what they need to do to break the zone right there.
Dillard.
Yeah, they get it inside to Dillard, Tyler. I think he'll pull him out of it.
Tough finish running away from the basket. Over to Gorlocks. Got the shot to fall. 22-20, Webster in front.
Both teams making a lot of noise on the sideline, which is, really, really good for both teams. It's not a big crowd here in this first game of a 2-game set. First game of the semi. Both teams away.
Langley over to Jones. His three no good. Coming up with a tough board is Carl Moore Jr. How about that? Stepping into a three is Luster, too strong. And luckily there for Hibbert, doesn't get called for a foul.
For a minute there, I thought both teams were going to try to run a fast break.
Now the Golden Eagles slow it up, try and set up the offense into Langley. He turns and shoots and hits.
Yeah, there's a hole in there, isn't there? Yeah. Right there at the free throw line. Got a couple different players on both teams a little tired. Both teams really playing hard defensively, especially.
Yeah, the intensity on the defensive end for both teams has been something to watch. Especially if you like that brand of basketball. Moore's fouled underneath the basket. Yeah. And we'll get some changes upcoming. Looks like Hugo will come back into the game, and Schaefer will check in for the first time.
I thought that foul was against Burton. Yeah, it is. It kind of came up on the board late. I thought Burton actually did a really nice job jumping down to guard Hugo at the post. He came from the top side and kind of was trying to dig, and they called him for a foul, said they got him on the arm. He was calling for a jump ball.
Webster again with the possession. Hugo spins towards the baseline. Good drive. Got his man on his hip. It gets two.
Looked close to being a hook.
Yeah. Thought we might see it. Golden Eagles, again, find the soft spot in that zone. Langley gives it up to the baseline, works back out. Tough drive and finger roll, can't get it to go from Caden Bradford.
Nice drive by Bradford. He did everything except just lay it in.
Fake on the shot. Now drive kicked in the corner to Reed. Schaefer now. Back to Reed, work down low to Hugo. Kick to Hibbert. Back to Hugo, under 10 to shoot. Luster now. Defended by Langley, under 5 to shoot. Looking for help, gives it up. Schaefer puts up a three, it was blocked. Shot clock violation.
Yeah, people are slowly coming into this HJ gym here at Greenville University. And it's starting to get kind of loud. I'm having to turn the volume up of my partner here because it's just gotten louder. And some of that, Tyler, as I mentioned earlier, is just coming from both benches. I mean, both teams really, really urging and cheering on their teammates.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it, Doug. When neither team is the home team, Webster had to drive about an hour to get out here. Spalding obviously coming from Louisville. You know, you're going to have to create your own environment, so to speak, when you know that you're not even going to just be necessarily in the area. You get a few more local fans. And you're right, it's been fun to watch. And, both these benches have had plenty to get loud about and excited about. I think it's been a really, really fun first half, to say the very least, and probably an understatement with 4:20 left to play in the first half.
Yeah, I've mentioned this a little bit, but I think the story of the game, it's going to sound a little weird, is the offensive rebounds from Webster. They have 7. They actually have more offensive rebounds than they do defensive rebounds. They lead Spalding 13-8 in overall rebounds, but 7, more than half, have come on the offensive end, and that's given them 23 shots in comparison to Spalding's 15.
I was going to say, now maybe not taking advantage of it, but just taking away opportunities for Spalding. Will they get an offensive rebound here and draw the foul? Goes Xavier Burton. So we'll go to the line for 2 and a chance to tie this game back up at 24.
Burton is from Evansville, Indiana, 6'4", 187 sophomore. He's a nice-looking player. good old-fashioned defensive basketball. Both teams kind of play the same style and the same pace.
Yeah.
Don't make a lot of turnovers. As I was looking at it, both teams have 5, and there's 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Burton makes the second, so 1 for 2 on that trip. And it's a 1-point game, 24-23. We move into the final 4 minutes of this first half. Spalding and Webster battling out for a spot in the SLIAC championship game tomorrow night right here at H.J. Long. Schaefer fakes. Gives it up to Hibbert. Works to Hugo. 5 to shoot. Spins. Puts up a shot. No good. Langley tracks down the rebound for Spalding.
I like the way Webster uses Hugo.
Yeah. He's kind of that traditional big man.
Yeah.
He doesn't range too far out from the paint as Burton collects a pass, puts up a mid-range and hits. Nothing but the net.
Looks easy, but McCampbell with a great pass there if you're watching.
Yeah.
Little pass along the baseline. Found his teammate wide open for a 10-footer because he was willing to give up a shot himself for a better one.
Hugo. We'll check that luster. Kicks. Hibbert's 3 off the pass, no good, off the mark. And then Burton had it in his hands for a moment.
Yeah, Burton felt like he was pushed, I think. And I don't, watching it, he may have an argument.
Be under the basket for the Gorlocks. 20 to shoot, 3 to play here in the first half. And Jacoby Johnson back into the game for the Golden Eagles. Two teams met, obviously, twice in the regular season. It was about a combined 30-point margin in favor of Spalding. They went 2-0 in the season series, and, well, you knew it was going to be a little tougher here tonight.
Well, this conference came down to that last weekend. We'll talk about that more as we get into the game.
Under 3 to play now. Gorlocks trailing by 1. Spalding. And Langley defends over on the far side. Now Reed for Webster. Turns, shoots, and had it about halfway down and rimmed out.
Nice shot by Reed. That's his shot.
Mm-hmm. He's hit a few of them already. Back to a zone here for the Gorlocks. Langley into the corner.
Great ball movement.
Fake, dribble in, shot no good on the mid-range. Came from Johnson.
A really good ball movement there by Spalding.
And they're comfortable setting that up through Langley. And the soft spot let him find the next best pass. Had a good look there. And stolen away. Nice defense again by Spalding. Bradford spins around one, gets a tough finish off the window. 27-24.
Yeah, Bradford, the 6'2", 170 junior. When he goes to the hole, he's hard to stop. He goes a long ways on one dribble.
Yes, he does.
Great ball, body control.
Hugo turns, faces the basket, shot left a bit short. Tipped up by Sykes, no good, gets his own board.
I'm so amazed by Sykes on the boards.
Reed hops through the paint, shot was no good. Langley, another tough board. He beat Sykes out for that one. Johnson now drives through the paint, finger roll no good. Langley collects the missed board. His shot no good. Falls back to him, trying to work his way through the paint. Reverse is good for 2.
Yeah.
Timeout called by the Gorlocks. 30 seconds, we'll keep it right here. 1:25 to play in the first half.
Well, the teammates there for Langley really excited for him. In fact, all of them got off the bench, almost came on the floor because of the great hustle play by Langley. Missed his first shot, got his rebound, made contact against the defense from Webster, and then a nice little reverse layup with a soft touch, and boy, he really built some enthusiasm from his teammates.
Well, the freshman out of Louisville getting a lot of playing time. When we covered the Greenville game, I remember him getting a lot of good minutes, and he's contributing as a freshman. You don't always see that, especially this late in the year.
Yeah.
But he makes a count there, and a good hard-nosed play around the rim a couple of times. And now it'll be up to the Gorlocks to come away with an answer here late in this first half as they trail by 5. Reed now at the perimeter. He's double teamed for a second, gives it up to Sykes at the point. Gives it up to Luster. Now work down low to Hugo. 10 to shoot. Good find of Reed. A little
That's a
too
good
hot
idea.
to handle.
Look who's got it.
Sykes comes away with it, and he's fouled on his way up.
I've not seen a guy get his hands on the basketball up and down the floor. Rebounds, loose balls, cutting to the basket. He's not a selfish player at all. He's extremely unselfish. I mean, it would be fun to play with a guy like Sykes.
Mm-hmm. His first is up and good, 29-25. The Spalding lead. And Xavier Burton back into the game, replaces Dillard.
Spalding shooting 45%. Webster shooting 34%. Webster 2 of 10 from the three-point line. Spalding 2 of 6 from the three-point line.
Makes them both 29-26, does Sykes. 30-second timeout called by Spalding. Again, we'll keep it right here. 58 seconds left to play here in this first half. And we'll remind everybody, this is just the first of two semifinals clearly tonight. Our second game between the Greenville Panthers and Eureka College Red Devils will tip off about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game right here. So I know it was scheduled about 7:30, but half an hour from when we wrap things up in this first game, so you can plan out your evening accordingly. And 58 seconds left to play in the first half.
Dillard leads the way for Spalding with 10 points. Levi Langley, surprisingly enough, follows Dillard with 7 points. He's kind of done that kind of quietly, if you ask me.
I'm right there with you. And we've said his name. I wouldn't be surprised if you told me he had a fair number of rebounds, certainly, but that 7-point mark, a little surprising, and as you mentioned, a little under the radar, certainly. Spalding with the possession here. You see what they got drawn up.
Yeah, Webster's gone back to the 2-3 out of the timeout.
Yeah, you're going to get a little hand check there and a tough foul to give up in the final minute of the half.
Yeah, especially way out there on the perimeter like that. Yeah. There was contact there. Bradford and Johnson are a little hard to contain out there on the perimeter when they go to the hole, because both of them do it so well. You kind of understand why Coach Bunch wants to, play a 2-3 against them. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think it would be just kind of hard to contain both Bradford and Johnson.
Second's good, 2 for 2. And for the Gorlocks, they will have to get a shot up. There's about 14 seconds difference. And that would, in theory, allow the Golden Eagles another chance to extend the lead late here in the half. Over to Hibbert, has it taken away, and then commits a foul.
Yeah. It is, Johnson and Bradford just bring a lot of quickness and speed. And then you combine that with Dillard inside, and you kind of got something. There's a reason why they're 16-2 in conference play.
Was Hibbert's second.
Spalding lost one game to Greenville here in Greenville. And then the last week of the season, they lost at Lyon, which is easy to do. Webster lost at Lyon as well late in the season. And Greenville was able to pull off a win, and that ended up giving them the right to host.
Front end is missed on the 1-and-1, and the Gorlocks can hold for the final shot if they won. Would imagine they do so. Get into the halftime break. McCrary being defended nicely by Johnson. Gives it up. Reed. 5 seconds to play in the half. Luster. McCrary puts up a 3. No good off the heel. And follow-up opportunity wouldn't have counted anyway.
I'm not sure that's the shot they won. I'm a little surprised we didn't see him going to Reed there. Reed kind of went through that flurry where he hit 2 or 3 in a row, and he kind of has a great jump shot kind of mid-range, and we saw it, for about 2 to 5 possessions in the first half, and I think they're going to need to rely on Reed to score like that, I think, to kind of stay with this Spalding team.
That's Doug Faulkner. I'm Tyler Rosen. We'll step aside for a halftime break here on SLIAC TV.
Gonna go down. Fompon, for the first time since 2005, wins the SLIAC tournament.
That's for sure. Win one today, lose one tomorrow. But it certainly looks like there's a shot and goal. Weaver was looking for a goal.
Jones, and that's a win for Fompon, and they go back to the regionals. It's been about
This one's lined back in the center, and that'll get down and get past the center fielder to Bird and go all the way to the wall. Cooper going around second. They're going to send him. Not going to be. The throw comes in. Not in time.
True, and Fompon will advance on to NCAA tournament. And another shutout for Mary Beers. And an excited Fompon Griffin team gathers and does the traditional bounce.
There's the celebration for the Griffins at the center of the field. And their supporters rush on the field as they've punched their ticket to the NCAAs.
College events here on the network.
Lee lifts a deep one, and it's gone. Into left field, Carter Lee. A leadoff home run. This one.
Welcome back to H.J. Long Gymnasium here on the campus of Greenville University. Tyler Rosen with you, and joined by a special guest in the SLIAC Commissioner Dick Heiser. Dick, thank you again for taking some time here. I know you're busy, but for taking some time and talking with me here at halftime. A fun first half that we saw here between Webster and Spalding, and probably what you would have expected between a 2 and a 3 seed.
Yeah, people asked me before the game, and both of these teams play pretty good defense, and especially Spalding. So my comment was to everybody was first one to 60 probably is going to win because they're playing. I mean, it's a well-played game right now. It's really well played.
Yeah, I think a lot of people complain about basketball losing its defensive edge or maybe a little bit of its physicality. Well, you watch here tonight, we've certainly had our fair share of both of those.
Yeah, and it's not a three-point shooting thing. It's trying to get the ball inside and working it inside. So it is a little bit of old-school basketball, for lack of a better way to put it, but it's an entertaining game. Both teams are pretty equally matched. I mean, we've got a 5-point difference here, and that whole difference is free throws at the very end in the last 5 seconds. So I look for it to come down to the last minute and see who all takes the opportunity to win. And then the next game, of course, is going to be racehorse, completely different than this one.
Right.
And I'm glad you're making the call and not me, because I can't talk that fast. So
there are times throughout the year, again, in the interest of full disclosure, Doug and I have been covering Greenville all season long, and there are times I feel I'm still a couple plays behind, so I'm right there with you, Kamish. We know it's a busy weekend for you. It got started early in the week, but last night we were up in Fulton, saw the women's semifinals. You're back here tonight, and then you got one heck of a day tomorrow. 2 basketball championships and indoor track, correct? So it doesn't slow down for you ever, does it?
No, it started off Tuesday night with the quarterfinal round of the women, with Principia hosting Spalding and Eureka hosting Spalding, Principia playing Greenville, and then Wednesday I was at Eureka, and when they played Mississippi, and that was a great game. And so basically we're putting 10 games on in a matter of about 4 or 5 days, and then we have you space in there an indoor track and field championship meet on Saturday, and it begins at 10 o'clock, and we'll probably run till I have to leave to get up here. But this traveling a little bit, this league's become pretty spread out. Once upon a time it was called the St. Louis Intercollegiate for a reason. Now it's the 5-state arena, where we're in Mississippi and Arkansas and Kentucky and Missouri and Illinois. So it's a lot of fun. We have some special kids that play in the SLIAC, some outstanding student athletes. And, for those that don't understand Division III, this is all about kids wanting to play. Just continue, because none of these kids are on any athletic scholarship. I'm betting that none of them have any NIL deals, and I think they're just playing for the love of the game, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And as commissioner and being an athletic director in the Division III ranks for over 30 years and being in athletics for close to 50, this is true athletics at its finest, where kids are playing for the love of the game, with the same passion, with the same intensity, with the same desire to win. And at the end of the game, they're going to go eat McDonald's and not anything else, or something like that.
Right.
And do I get a plug for McDonald's? I'm sorry.
Hey,
whatever.
Take it up with the boss man, Tim Miller.
But bottom line is, though, it's fun to watch these kids, because this game means as much to them as any national championship or anything like that.
I'm glad you said that, because you really can see it, especially on weeks like this, weekends like this, when you're talking about a conference championship. That means that multiple team seasons are ending, some careers are ending too, and you see that commitment, what it means to be able to do this for 4 more years when you achieve something like a conference championship or your career or season comes to a close. And you're right, just as committed and driven as any other athlete.
Well, we don't have very many 5-year players in the Division III, just due to the rule situation. For those that don't understand it, if you go to school at a NCAA Division III school, even though you don't play, those quarters count against you, and you only get semesters, and so you only get 10 semesters to compete. And most kids, because of the cost, and they're paying for education on themselves, most of them are 4 years and out.
Right.
They're not sticking around for that 5th year, or very few of them are. So, as you said, there are many student athletes that are going to play tonight, played last night, going to play on Saturday in the 2 championship games. This is it, This is the final, and as much as they enjoyed the experience, it hurts just as much to walk away.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And, Prepcast is always so glad to be a part of these SLIAC championships and covering so many of your member schools. So to be a part of it this weekend is always great. Before I let you go, Kamish, maybe a little bit of a prediction for tomorrow's women's championship, since we know the matchup, and maybe what you expect the rest of the night here.
Well, the matchup obviously is Webster versus Principia, which was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
That was an upset, because the number 4 seed beat the number 1 seed, and quite frankly, last night they beat them handily.
Yeah.
kind of goes to show that when you have an outstanding player, which Westminster has many outstanding players, but they had the Player of the Year and Miss Ramirez, but she was off last night. And when you shoot as poorly as that whole team shot, it's really hard to stay in a game. And quite frankly, Principia played just great.
Right.
Played great team ball, passed the ball, played great defense. And kudos to Coach Romero, Coach Rowe, for getting his team ready to go. So predictions. The Webster women, I believe, have beaten Principia twice, both by 15 to 20 points both times. I don't know if Principia's got enough to beat them, but I would venture to say that it's going to be a lot closer than that. And that'll come down to like a 7 or 8 point game where both teams are going to have to play hard right to the very end. I still think Webster's probably got the better team, but Coach Rowe and his ladies proved us wrong yesterday, and everybody was walked out of the gym going, wow, and kudos to them. So I'm sure he'll put a game plan together, and it'll be a great women's basketball game. And if you're not in the Fulton area, take it in. It's cheap. It's $5. You can't hardly beat it. Go in and watch the ladies, and at the end, we do an awards presentation of all conferences, sportsmanship and player of the year and all that kind of stuff. And it's really neat to watch these ladies and gentlemen Saturday evening get those awards because they're so deserving.
Yeah, they really are. And we'll run through some of them throughout the broadcast, as well as the all-conference teams have been made official, player of the year, all of that good stuff. So we'll let the commissioner get settled back in for the second half. Dick, thank you so much for taking some time. Always great to catch up with you and learn what's going on with the conference.
Okay, are you doing this one tomorrow night? Or are you?
I'll be here. I'll be here tomorrow night. I got Panther baseball beforehand early in the afternoon, and I'll be here at 7 o'clock for tip-off.
All right, we'll see you.
I'll talk to you then.
Take care, my man.
You too. That's the commissioner, Dick Kaiser. Second half coming up next on SLIAC TV. Welcome back to H.J. Long Gymnasium here on the campus of Greenville University as the Gorlocks of Webster University and the Golden Eagles of Spalding University are battling it out here on our first of two semifinals tonight. Our next game will get tipped off about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one here. Had a great conversation with the commissioner, Dick Kaiser. Always appreciate his time, and he should be joining us in our second game too. And my partner Doug Faulkner are back alongside me. Doug, it was an entertaining first half, and just about a minute of separation between the two at the end of the first half gives us our 5-point Spalding lead.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game. 7 turnovers for Webster and only 5 for Spalding, so low turnover game. Great defensive game. It's exactly what we talked about at the top of the broadcast, and there's no reason to think the pace of this game is going to change any. This is going to be a grinded-out game.
Yeah. Commissioner, echoed your thoughts almost exactly on the old-school style of this game and kind of the slug it out and just kind of grind it out type of play. 2 points to get us started here for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, I think the Golden Eagles can do a little bit more of that. Dillard does lead them in scoring, but he's really dangerous down there.
Gorlocks work around the perimeter. Good quick passing. Triangle to Hugo. Looking for help. Finds
nice cut.
some. Good cut on his way in by Diallo.
Yeah, and a good pass by Hugo. I mentioned they used him well, and he knows kind of when to take his shot. He's unselfish. He's a great passer from the post.
Here comes Spalding back the other end. Burton. Now Bradford drives. Lost the handle. Left it for Dillard. Dillard, his putback no good. Loose ball and knocked out of bounds to the Gorlocks. And Luster, who's pleading not to get a foul, worked out for him.
Good drive by Bradford there. Nice drop off to Dillard. I bet he wishes he could have that again.
Yeah. Sykes works off the Hugo screen. Luster in the corner. Shot no good as he drove along the baseline. Works its way out. Gives it right back. Luster's corner three is good.
Well, Luster not being shy out there. Got to the corner and hit the three with some confidence.
Spalding leads at 33-31, 18-25 to play here in the second half. Burton. Pass was off the mark, looking to get Bradford. Here comes Sykes back the other way. Shot was contested and maybe affected. Now we get a jump ball. Possession arrow will stay with Spalding.
Yeah, I think
that.
Go
Webster.
ahead.
It'll stay with Webster underneath their own basket. 18:09 to play.
I think Burton was looking for a curl cut, and the cut was more of a straight cut there, and that's why that ball was thrown away. He was anticipating the cut of his teammate.
Just get it into Ugo. And get an offensive foul. They're going to get Diallo with a block or an illegal screen, rather.
Yep.
We'll turn it back over to Spalding. Golden Eagles a chance to extend a 2-point lead. 18:04 to play in the second half.
Yeah, Spalding's kind of gotten off to a slow start here.
Similar to the start they had in the first half.
You're right.
Of course, both teams went about 2 minutes before finding points. That three from Dillard is no good. Offensive board for the Golden Eagles. Now played into the corner. Driving. Bradford, his shot no good. Tough drive, an off-balance shot. And now Webster with a chance to tie or take the lead. 17.5 to play. Hibbert. Dribbles between his legs, gives it to Luster. Gives it up to Diallo. Picks up his dribble and finds Hibbert. Kicks out Sykes, his three on its way, rimmed out. Webster was worked late in the shot clock there. Dillard back at the other end. Off-balance shot, no good. Late
he's going to
whistle.
pick up a foul.
Hugo's going to get the foul and a late one at that.
Yeah, Chris Bunch usually very, very calm on the sidelines. He kind of jumped up on that one. I don't really blame him. Looked like that was more of an offensive contact there.
Yeah.
Looked like the defense, created that contact in any way, and that's what Chris Bunch is doing down here talking with one of the officials. Chris Bunch, probably the most liked coach in the SLIAC conference. He may be the most liked coach on men or women, any sport in the SLIAC. He's just very well respected and very well liked. All of us at Greenville think the world of him.
He's in his 23rd season for the Gorlocks, and looks like they're sending Bradford off to maybe have some blood taken off. Yeah, it's taken off his jersey now. I would imagine that might be the case as Burton comes right back into the game.
If they have to kind of remove the blood from the jersey, that's a whole different level there.
Tied to go pen.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to have this BJ Schnick to get the washer going over there and down in the depths of H.J. Long Gymnasium.
Laundry day. That one rimmed out, and a tough board collected in by Spalding and Cameron Jones. How about that? Keeps the possession alive, and a two-hand jam from Devontae McCampbell.
Let's see if that brings the Spalding fans up, standing, and you can hear them in the background on our mics. They really, really like that by McCampbell.
Yeah, and the family of Cameron Jones is getting into it after the fine, or the assist rather, on that play. Driving in, Luster gets it to go.
And nice recovery by Webster after all the emotion. Make 5 or 6 passes, get into the lane, and shoot a little jumper in there. Nice job by Webster.
Never a bad idea to slow it down as Hugo steps in front there, comes away with the steal, and a reach-in foul called there by on McCampbell. And not the worst thing in the world, as Hugo probably would have had an easy 2.
Yeah, Hugo does a lot of things. 6'6" from Houston, Texas, Stafford High School. Plays a traditional post, plays it well. And he was out on the perimeter that time and made the steal. Getting in the passing lane about a foot outside the three-point line.
Big man looked awfully comfortable dribbling the length of the floor and just floats one up there. Shot was no good. Dillard collected the rebound, and I think they're going to get a foul. And Hugo again underneath the basket.
Just going to see how many that is on Hugo. That's his third.
Yeah.
Kind of have to think about it. He is coming out.
Yeah. And I'm sure Chris Bunch feels his hands are tied on that one.
Yeah, if you can come with Carl Moore Jr., you got to still feel pretty good there.
I was just going to say there are worse options off the bench, I'm sure. And we get a timeout on the floor by the official.
I'm just thinking it's a shot clock issue.
And it looks like Brentford is good to go. He's got his right arm wrapped up.
This is a really good college basketball game. 2 good teams. Spalding tied for first with Greenville. Webster split with Greenville. And Webster finished third. And, these are just 2 good teams going at it, playing hard on the defensive end.
There's that, of course, familiarity with the third time you play a team. Corner 3 is good from Cameron Jones. Under 16 to play. Spalding in front by 6. Trying to come away with a steal in the backcourt. And instead, it's going to be a foul on Caden Bradford.
Spalding traveled well up here to this tournament. They brought a few fans, and they're bringing their energy here in this first game of a double set here. And they had a fantastic year, going 16-2 and tying for the conference championship.
Kevin Gray, head coach for Spalding, coach of the year. 3 from the wing, no good. Luster gets the offensive board. Keeps it alive for Webster. Drive and kick out to Diallo. Drives in. Floater with the right hand, no good. Ball being tipped around. Carl Moore Jr. kicks it out. McCrary kicks. Luster's 3. Rattled it home. And a timeout called immediately by head coach Chris Bunch. 15-19. to play.
A little surprised at that timeout, but I think it was very, very specific. I mean, Coach Bunch knew what he was looking for, and I think he has some very specific things to say to his team at this juncture in the ballgame. They're 5 minutes into the second half, and you could tell when he took it that he was anticipating calling it if the circumstances presented themselves like they did. As soon as the basket was hit, he said, here's what we're going to do. And we're going to take a timeout. We're going to talk about things.
Yeah, and probably a good one there. The tempo is starting to pick up a little bit for both teams. 39-36 our score, 15-19 to play here in the second half. And, well, again, it's just continued that back-and-forth nature that we saw in the first half. And the Golden Eagles, the number 2 seed, they've answered well here today. They had that run at the end of the first half. A little bit of a sluggish start in that first 20 minutes, but they've had the longer of the trips.
Dillard, the leading scorer for Spalding. He's got 13 on 5 of 7 shooting, taking the advantage of the opportunities he's received. Webster shooting 35% from the field as a team. Spalding shooting 44%. Webster only 4 of 15 from 3, and Spalding is 3 of 8 from 3 so far in this game with 15 left.
Spalding with the possession out of the timeout. It's a 3-point lead for the Golden Eagles. Johnson, defended by McCrary. Jones to the baseline. McCampbell out towards the 3-point line, driving in, straight up, defense by Carl Moore. Nice job there, affected the shot of Caden Bradford.
It was a really good 2-3 zone. You can see they shift just a little bit differently in that 2-3 zone.
Luster here at the near wing, defended by Bradford, gives it up over to Diallo. Sends one defender off his hip, back to Luster, under 10 to shoot. Step back 2, no good. Offensive board, got to get it back up. They reset the shot clock. That ball never hit the rim. Works out for Spalding as they come away giving up 0 points on the possession.
Okay, what do we got? I think we have another shot clock issue.
Yeah.
And they as you mentioned, they didn't reset, or they reset it and should not have, because the ball didn't hit the rim here on this last possession. Is that correct, Tyler?
Yeah, and
yep.
It was about 4 seconds left maybe when the offensive rebound was there. And, yeah, that reset the clock. And I don't know if that affected then coming back down the floor what was on the shot clock on the Spalding possession. But our official's talking it over now. Appears to be all sorted out.
They're trying to get it.
Spoke too soon. 23 now on the shot clock. So 14-11 to play, 23 seconds now to shoot. And it'll be Caden Bradford inbound for the Golden Eagles. Dillard. And now Johnson. Good, quick passing.
Yep.
Kicks it back out. Bradford's 3, no good. But you got to love the possession there by Spalding.
Yeah.
And almost coming up with a walk was Reed. Spalding fans right in front wanted it. Weren't going to get it. Is now McCrary. To Reed, trying to go baseline, or had a look there, nothing doing. Kicks to Luster. Down low to Carl Moore. Goes over the top, shot no good. Putback opportunity by Luster, no good. Carl Moore Jr.'s there again and fouled on his way up. Looks like they're going to get Dillard with the foul. That's his third. So he and Hugo both with 3.
It's really physical down there in and around the basket. It's clean as far as I'm concerned. It's just people playing hard and physical basketball, college basketball. These are big bodies out here for small college basketball teams.
couple of our games last night in Fulton were awfully physical too on the women's side of things, as Moore Jr. goes 2 for 2, and yeah, it was again clean. It's just the nature of what you're playing for. Things are going to get a little intense. 20 to shoot here, 13-20 to play for Spalding.
Webster back in that 2-3 zone. They're really going to challenge Spalding.
Got to step up, and Bradford's shot was blocked by Carl Moore.
See if Webster slows it down here and tries to pass the ball around the perimeter.
McCrary kicks it out Diallo. 15 to shoot. Luster 3 on the fake and tried to kick it out, and Diallo will collect. Under 10 to shoot. McCrary to Luster. 5 to shoot now for the Gorlocks. Flip down to Carl Moore Jr. It'll go out of bounds back to Spalding.
Yeah, I don't think there was much there underneath.
No.
I think Moore was fronted on that.
That's a good point. I was just getting ready to say he didn't hold the position on his defender. And
we got a media timeout now?
Believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll call it that. And they didn't have to do that just for us. 12:41 to play. It will be a timeout, immediate timeout on the floor. 39-38 the score. Spalding in front. As we mentioned, Anthony Dillard, the player of the year in SLIAC, the head coach for the Golden Eagles. Kevin Gray, SLIAC coach of the year. Congratulations to both of them. Go over some of the first team. Of course, Anthony Dillard is there. Carl Moore Jr. for Webster. And in our later game, Gerard Webb gets first team all-conference representing Greenville University. The second team, it is for this game, Jamard Sykes II for Webster. And then in the third team for Spalding, you got Jacoby Johnson and Caden Bradford. And the all-defensive team for Spalding, Jacoby Johnson again, and Carl Moore Jr. for Webster on the all-defensive team.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing those things all play out here in this game, I think. Those players all playing well here tonight. Luster leads Webster in scoring, which is a little surprising. He has 14. Reed is next with 6. And Reed really hasn't done much offensively, hasn't taken shots really since midway through that first half when he got real warm there for a period of time, almost like a microwave, and we haven't heard much from him. On the Spalding side, that's Anthony Dillard with 13, and then it is Langley with 7 and Jones with 6.
Spalding will have the possession out of the immediate timeout, 12.5 to play.
Webster in the 2-3.
Jones tried to work it into the corner. It was knocked away and out of bounds off of Spalding.
A lot of pointing there by the official. Couldn't tell which way. He's pointing at all kinds of things. Then finally said it was Webster ball.
Looked like it was off of you because it was him who hit it off of you. Sort of a pointing explanation. Either way, it's all sorted out as we approach the final 12 minutes of action here in our first semifinal. Eureka and Greenville antsy to get on the floor. The Panthers already standing inside the doorway. Eureka's been here a while. Of course, Hugo gives it up to McCrary, kicks to Reed, pulls up from the free throw line. He was fouled and one.
Yeah, and that one fell down. Spalding got out there and made Reed adjust his shot. He had to arc it a little bit higher than normal. And it comes at a time where I was just saying Reed was a little quiet. And with 11:56 midway through the second half, let's see if Reed can kind of turn it on here for the guest team as they take a 2-point lead here.
Completes the old-fashioned three-point play, 41-39 in favor of the Gorlocks. Webster trying to spring a bit of an upset here to get back to the conference championship. Dillard faces the basket. Off balance hook shot. No good. Not the shot you want even from the player of the year.
Yeah, defended well there.
Sykes fakes an over-the-top pass. Now gives it up Diallo. Thought about it. Takes a three and hits.
Yeah, both teams just kind of countering each other, making it a good game here.
44-39. Gorlock's in front of the Golden Eagles. Spalding and Burton now. Over to Johnson. Called for a screen, doesn't use it. Dribbles to his right. Pull up, mid-range jumper, no good.
That's a good shot. I mean, he was wide open. Johnson was.
You can take that.
Yeah.
Diallo down to Hugo. He's got the size mismatch, but defended well there by McCampbell, but he gets a pass off. Shot no good. Burton comes away with it.
Yeah.
He was fouled.
Nice pass there by Hugo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Webster had really had some momentum going for them. A bucket there might have really given them a boost. Would have been their biggest lead of the game.
Yeah.
Would have been a 7-point lead for them.
Largest lead for either team is 6 to Webster. And just gives you an idea of how competitive this game's been.
Yeah.
True definition of a 2-3 seed sort of matchup, I'd say. Langley back into the game for Spalding. He had a good first half. Haven't seen him much here in the second. Works off of one, does Bradford, and puts up and in a three.
Just when it looks like one team may fade a little bit, they come back with a little 6 to 8 point run. It's happening on both sides of the ball.
Hugo flips it to Reed. Hesitates, now kicks. Sykes, his three fading away off the front of the rim. Gets his own board,
You gotta-
puts it up and in and one.
You got to block Sykes out. I mean, he was left alone after he shot the three. He knew where it was going better than anybody else, and he just followed his own shot. And you just got to check him. He's already proven he can get an offensive rebound as well as anybody out there on the floor. Webster now, let me see. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking I'm not seeing this right, Tyler. I'm going to keep looking to make sure I see this right, but it looks like Webster has 17 offensive rebounds.
Wow.
I'm still staring at it because I don't believe it. But 17 offensive rebounds tells you why they have a lead. They've taken 48 shots in this game. They're 17 of 48, and they've taken 13 more shots than Spalding. Spalding has shot 40% from the field. They've shot better than Webster, who shot 35%. But those 17 offensive rebounds, that's the story of why Webster has a 4-point lead. Sykes is going to try to make it 5 going to the charity stripe.
Both teams making their way back out onto the floor. We're past the midway point of this second half. And feeling like we're no closer to determining who's going to go on to the conference championship game tomorrow night right here at H.J. Long in Greenville. Tip-off scheduled for 7 o'clock tomorrow. The extra from Sykes, no good. So Spalding trailing by 4. Work the ball slowly up the floor. And
yeah, I couldn't tell. Johnson was really trying to talk to the official as he brought it up the floor. I couldn't tell what he's trying to communicate with him about something, but I just don't know what it was.
It looked initially, he was saying something over towards Chris Bunch, and I'm thinking certainly he's not talking to him, and he get it all figured out. Looks like the ball a little wet. Langley turns, faces the basket, dribbles, kicks out to Bradford, who gives it right back. Langley's jumper, no good. Hugo tracks down the board.
That's a good shot by Langley. He's proven he can hit those, and he's wide open. Webster's leaving him wide open in the middle of that zone.
Yeah, they're daring him to
Yeah.
beat him. And that one's poked away from Hugo. Good hands there.
3-on-1.
Burton at the other end, fouled and one.
Yeah, you didn't want to foul there. It's a 3-on-1. More than likely, they're going to score. You don't want to pick up an unnecessary foul. And you don't want it to be Sykes. So is that Sykes? Yeah, he picks up his second, so he's not in trouble. He's wondering what he did.
Yeah, and having a nice conversation with one of our referees. So Burton, he makes his extra. 46-45, Gorlock's in front.
Yeah, Webster with an opportunity to take a 7-point lead, and that quickly evaporated. They weren't able to push it to 7, and then Spalding has come back. Spalding now coming out in a 2-3 zone.
Around the perimeter, Hibbert puts up a deep three, no good, too strong. Langley with the board.
Yeah, nice rebound by Langley at good position. That's tough to do in a 2-3 zone.
Under 9 minutes to play. Bradford to Johnson.
That's open.
Langley into the corner. Burton's three, no good. Loose ball poked around. Dillard saves to Burton. Nice play. Under 20 to shoot. Johnson hesitates. Over to Bradford. Langley, Dillard, Burton right through his hands.
Great ball movement by Spalding. Well, I think I'd keep going into Langley. Langley's going to be smart in there. I think he'll take the shot if he has it, but he's very much looking for a high-low, looking to skip opposite. He's looking for a lot of things in there, and it seems to me that Webster, as you said, Tyler, kind of daring Spalding to throw it in there to him, and somewhat, I'm assuming because he's a freshman.
Yeah, and you're right. He hasn't really looked to shoot first, but he's been a great facilitator. And as we mentioned in the first half, sneaky 7 points. Three from Sykes, far wing, no good. Reed had the ball in his hands for a moment. Burton comes away with it. Now Spalding back the other end. Langley gives it right back to Johnson. Bradford fakes, drives, hops through the paint, puts up a shot with the right hand, no good. And now flipped up to Hibbert, who tracks it down and keeps the pivot. Sykes.
Yeah, both teams, this time Spalding's in a man-to-man.
Reed drives to the free throw line, kicks. Luster's wing three is good.
Luster has a weird rotation on his ball. It's almost a knuckle curve heading up there towards the basket, but it goes in.
Spalding now trailing by 4. Langley turns and shoots. Shot was blocked by Moore, and he can't get his own rebound. Reed back the other way.
You'd like to see Webster be a little bit patient here.
Yeah. Moore double teamed and able to flip it out to Hibbert. 10 to shoot just about. Moore out to Sykes, thought about the three, now drives in, puts it up with the left, high off the glass, no good, but he was fouled.
Nice drive by Sykes. Both teams really daring each other to shoot from the outside. And Webster with another opportunity to push it to 6, which would tie their largest lead of the game.
First was good, 50-45. Sykes trying to put in another. He can't, too strong off the back heel. Moore with the offensive rebound.
If Webster wins, that's going to be the stat of the game.
Yeah, no kidding. Sykes takes a pass down to Carl Moore Jr. Ends up in the hands of Diallo. He gets 2 and he's fouled.
Yeah, largest lead of the game now for Webster. And yeah, I think, I'm not sure it's up on the stats just yet. 18 offensive rebounds for Webster.
Wow.
They've doubled up Spalding. Spalding has 9. He's trying to get total rebounds. Webster has 35. Spalding has 25.
Got a full timeout with 6.5 minutes to play here in the second half, with Spalding trailing by 7. And it will be a full timeout, and we'll step aside here as you're watching SLIAC men's basketball semifinals here on SLIAC TV. Six and a half left to play here in semifinal number 1 in the SLIAC men's basketball tournament. Tyler Rose and Doug Faulkner alongside you as the host Greenville Panthers and Eureka College Red Devils await the conclusion of this game, and that game, our second game of 2, will tip off about half an hour after the conclusion of this game, so stay tuned. And Doug will be on the play-by-play for game number 2 as the Panthers and Red Devils will determine who takes the second spot in the SLIAC championship game tomorrow night right here at H.J. Long. Tip-off at 7 o'clock.
I have a feeling it'll be interesting to see what Webster comes out and does defensively, but I have a feeling they're going to challenge Spalding, the Golden Eagles, to shoot from outside. Let's see.
Made the next 53-45.
High and wide. Well, yeah, high and wide 2-3 here.
McCampbell over to Burton, far side. He fakes, now drives. Luster may have affected the shot as the jumper was too strong.
I think Webster is going to be content on the offensive end to use a lot of shot clock, because this hasn't been a game where somebody's possessed a big lead. In fact, this is the biggest lead for any team tonight, holding just a 7-point lead.
Again, the patience of Webster.
Junior
hook shot is good.
Yeah, that's his shot, and he's going to be open, I think. If Spalding stays in a zone or any kind, I think they're going to be able to go into more.
The key to that possession there, that shot was put up with less than 5 seconds on the shot clock. You mentioned it, Doug. Taking the time off the clock. Under 10 to shoot now for Spalding. Worked into McCampbell, and he was fouled.
Spalding's going to have to think, all right, we're down 10, and in this kind of a game, this style of game, the tempo of this game, a 10-point lead is bigger than a 10-point lead. And just because of the way the game's going to be played, neither team really plays an up-tempo style at all. We'll see if Spalding wants to challenge me on that and put together some kind of a full-court press or some traps, because they may have to think about that. Down 10 here with 5:20 to go. Don't get me wrong, there's a lifetime left, but Spalding's going to, I think, have to try some different things, especially if they're going to miss free throws.
Yeah, both no good, and rebound to Webster. Diallo and Luster. Gets it up the floor and throws it away.
You got to wonder, if you're Spalding, do you think about putting, when you see a pass like that, you're going to put a little pressure on Webster, because you're going to have to force some things. We'll see if Coach Kevin Gray wants to try something a little different.
McCrary comes into the game, replaces Hibbert for Webster.
Yeah, I think that's where you're going to have to go right there.
Dillard tried to go over the top, but Moore, he sends it away. Under 5 to play. Luster fakes to Sykes, gets it right back. Diallo thought about a 3, defended well by Bradford. McCrary to Sykes. Sykes down low to
yeah.
Carl Moore Jr. His shot was sent away by Bradford. Still a 10-point lead for the Gorlocks. Losing the handle momentarily. Caden Bradford gets it back.
They're going to call offensive there.
Yeah, Dillard extended the arm.
Yeah. Dillard saying, hey, was he inside the cylinder?
Yeah, and Dillard was trying to say that it does not matter, I don't think, when you extend the arm like that.
Yeah.
It was 4:31 to play.
Yeah.
Stoppage in play, and referee having a conversation with the coaching staff. And I believe more specifically the head coach, Kevin Gray, because Dillard was not happy with the explanation he got and kind of waved the official away. And I think a smart job by the official to let the head coach know and not be reactionary on a player like that, especially in a situation like this, 4.5 to play.
Well, in a game like this, I've already spoken about it, your possessions are going to be limited. And when your possessions are limited, that means each possession you have is extremely critical and important. And the Golden Eagles missed 2 free throws the possession before this, and then their best player picks up a foul in his 4th in that next possession. And those possessions are so critical in a game like this. And the other side of this is that Webster is more than likely, Tyler, going to try to use clock. They're not going to force up a quick shot unless they're forced to do so. Now, Spalding right now has their guards pressed up a little bit. So let's see if they're going to try. Yeah, this is like a 2-2-1 on your screen. You'll see the 2 guards up front and then the 2 players at mid-court. So we're going to see a little bit of a pressure from Spalding.
McCrary to Diallo as they try and break the press. They do with a bounce pass, and then Luster's fouled.
So, I applaud Kevin Gray. I think that's what he has to do, and I think it still could pay off. And now it'll push it back into the hands of Webster to say, hey, can you hit free throws going down the stretch?
Luster at the line. Graduate out of St. Louis knocks in the first.
Webster, I'm trying to find out what they have shot from the line. I think they've shot 64%, so it's not over the top, and the second free throw is missed.
It's an 11-point Webster lead. Bradford works off the screen from McCampbell. He and Johnson play a bit of catch. Bradford puts up a 3, no good from way out. Luster, and with still 4 minutes, Spalding doesn't have to foul just yet. Runner on its way, no good, left short by McCrary.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Bunch would have preferred that. I think he would have liked to have used some clock there.
Johnson's fouled on his way up.
And that's exactly what Spalding wants to do. Yeah, Chris Bunch kind of shaking his head, just simply because we'll just talk about it and we'll keep repeating it. This game, each possession is going to be important, and Webster probably wanted to use clock there. Yeah. I know it was tempting. It wasn't a bad shot. It's just more about time and score while the Golden Eagles can't buy a free throw. That's their 3rd miss here down the stretch, Tyler.
You got to make them if you want to stay in a game like this. Certainly goes without saying. It hasn't happened tonight. The second one's good, though, from Johnson.
Let's see if this 2-2-1 can force Webster to make some passes that they shouldn't make. There you go.
It was out of bounds.
Yeah.
And it will go back to Spalding as Hibbert checks back into the game, replaces McCrary. Sykes coming back from the training table. He was getting looked at. We'll see if he can't make his way back into the game. Johnson. Bradford now at the wing. Sends it to Dillard. Good fake, and then goes up and gets 2 off the glass. And for Carl Moore Jr., luckily, he was able to get back down and plant it.
Yeah, Moore, I don't think, wanted to pick up a foul, so he's playing very, very cautious down there because he's been great. I mean, in there defensively, that's been a key down the stretch. He's blocked three or four shots late in this game.
8-point Webster lead. Hibbert to Luster.
Spalding's going to have to put more pressure on than this, I think.
Hibbert drives over to Reed. Got to get a shot off. He does with one and hits.
That's exactly what Webster wanted to do. I mean, that was played to perfection, including the guy taking the shot.
Yeah, that was textbook there. Milked every last second of that shot clock. Runner is good from McCampbell.
I wondered about that. I thought Gray might take a timeout, and he does. 8-point game, 2:35 to go, and I would say that this game's going to come down, just doing some projections here, Tyler, but I think this game's going to come down to whether Webster can hit free throws.
Yes, I'd agree with you, and, we'll take a moment to shout out the commissioner because when I spoke with him at halftime, Doug, he a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I think it's got some relevancy now. First to 60 wins the game.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was 31-26 at the halftime break. And we look at the score now, 58-50. Webster in front with 2:35 left to play.
Spalding's got the players to press, in my opinion. Actually, both teams do, in my opinion. But I think, it's going to be, can Webster handle the press and hit free throws? And Spalding's in a situation where they have to force some turnovers.
Into the corner to Hibbert. Luster fakes, gets a man in the air. Hibbert gets it across to Sykes. Good to see Sykes back in the game. Again, just went over to the scores table to get checked at for just a short time. Luster, corner three, no good off the rim. With just over 2 minutes left in an 8-point game, Spalding goes back down the floor. Jones thought about it. Dillard, corner three, no good off the inside part of the rim. Hibbert slows it up wisely. With
nice job by Hibbert right there. Nice job by Hibbert.
Toss it over to Sykes. Gave it to Luster. Gives it back to him.
Good job by Webster right here. Good ball movement. They're forcing Spalding to chase all over.
Cross-court pass to Sykes, almost taken away. He dribbles in. Jumper, no good. Shot came with about 6 seconds left to shoot.
Dillard needs to take it.
Yes. Pushes the pace ahead. Shot was sent away. Dillard wants a foul. Not going to get it. Under 90 seconds to play. Moore up to Diallo. Two-hand jam.
That may do it.
Yeah, a minute 20 to play.
That may do it.
Webster. And now Jones's three, no good. Moore Jr. gets the rebound and is fouled by McCampbell. Check that, it may have been Dillard. Let's see what they put up on the board. That was McCampbell's second.
Yeah, Webster 10 of 13 in this game from the free throw line as Moore steps to the stripe. Spalding 12 of 19 for 63% from the free throw line. So Webster has the advantage, the slight advantage from the charity stripe.
Makes the first. Does Moore.
Low turnover game. Webster has 11. Spalding has 10.
It might be a far cry from what we see in about a half hour or
Yes.
so, just with the pace of play
that
the Panthers of Greenville employ. 12-point Webster lead. Johnson's three. He's fouled by Sykes.
Yeah.
Shot was no good.
Sykes turned and immediately looked at Chris Bunch and said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." And it took the wind right out of Chris Bunch's sail, I think,
It was the classic, you did something wrong, and you just immediately try and get your reprieve as the first says no good.
Yeah, Spalding hasn't taken advantage of the free throw line here late, and it's killed them. They're 12 of 20 right now, and they needed to hit these down the stretch.
second chance opportunities as well as the second is good that they allowed Webster to have is the real killer. You meant just shortening up the possessions that you have. Third is good. So 2 for 3 on that trip. It's a 10-point lead and still not ironed out just yet.
No.
You got to break the press at least one more time. Webster up to Carl Moore. Cross-court pass Diallo. And Webster again will look to kill clock. We'll see what Spalding wants to do. Almost came away with a steal. Luster to Sykes. Diallo thought about it. Now leaves it for Luster. His pass was tipped up in the air. 40 seconds to play. Back down the floor goes Spalding. Anticipate a timeout with a made bucket. Kicked onto the wing. Far wing. 3 on its way from Johnson.
Timeout.
And they do get one. 62-55, 33 seconds left to play.
That three-point shot keeps you in it, you know.
Yeah.
You just need a couple more.
And I'm sure for head coach Chris Bunch, 23 seasons, you've seen just about everything. However, as confident as he probably is in his team to close this one out, that last sequence certainly won't make the final 32.9 any easier for him on the sideline.
All kinds of turnovers down here in the water break by Webster. Water just going everywhere except in the mouth. I don't know what in the world's going on, but all kinds of towels out there and trying to get up the water. We got a whole crew down there. And it was just a water break, and the players were just trying to take a drink, and I don't know if the lids were, not properly secured.
Yeah, they're holding up the final 33 or so to make sure that it's safe over there. I did see that. I didn't think my eyes were tricking me.
No.
33 seconds to play. Webster got to get it in. They do to Hibbert. Home run pass down the floor. Diallo will slow it up. And finger roll, put it up and in for 2.
A nice little press break there by Webster.
3 from Jones, rimmed out. Hibbert couldn't get there for Webster, and then a foul as Dillard went up. Shot was no good.
Call that against Sykes. I don't think you can be unhappy with Sykes there.
No, and head coach Chris Bunch was laughing about it. And then when he collected himself, says, Jamal, what are we doing? A little fun here down the stretch. First is good.
I think Dillard still leads the way. He does with 15 points for Spalding. He hits both free throws.
7-point game.
Yeah. The three-pointer keeps you in this one. If you can get a steal. Yep.
Owens poked free, held in by Dillard, but stepped out of bounds, so it'll stay with Webster, and they almost do get the steal. And Webster, again, will look to get it across the timeline and milk some more clock. And again, almost
that's going to be, it's going to be Spalding ball.
I'm going to say Hibbert was
Webster
the last to
really
touch.
Struggling, yeah. So a 3 here still makes it a 2-possession game.
It'll be Jones to inbound. Goes into the far corner. Bradford trying to create some space, just throws it up. That was actually McCampbell. Shot no good. Put back no good. Here's Jacoby Johnson's 3 from the point. No. Sykes will get the rebound. He goes down to the floor with a travel.
That should do it, though. 0.2 seconds. Well, Webster's going to pull one out here and go to the finals tomorrow. And this is the number 3 team versus the number 2 team. There's not a huge surprise here, but, Spalding was 16-2 and really controlled the conference most of the way. 2 great coaches. It was a fun game. Chris Bunch and Kevin Gray, who kind of run similar styles. And if you like good old-fashioned basketball, this was a Tyler, this was a fantastic game. Played well by both teams. So if you like to see basketball played well, not many turnovers, control your possession, get a good shot, play fantastic defense, that's exactly what this game was.
It absolutely was, and it was a fun one at that between the number 2 seeded Spalding Golden Eagles and the 3 seeded Webster Gorloks. That will do it here for us in game number 1. Come back in about half an hour. We'll bring you the second semifinal here tonight from H.J. Long Gymnasium between the Greenville University Panthers, the Eureka College Red Devils. For my partner, Doug Faulkner, I'm Tyler Rosen, reminding you of our final score here in game number 1. The Webster Gorloks 64, Spalding Golden Eagles 57. The Gorloks will be in the conference championship game tomorrow night. That'll tip off right here on SLIAC TV at 7 o'clock. Until then, thanks for tuning in to SLIAC TV.